Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music. I'm going to talk about how you can play a song called Funny How Time Slips Away. And this is kind of working off the Zach Brown, Dave Matthews version of this that they have up on the Zach Brown YouTube, actually. This is kind of an awesome little jam between these two awesome guys on an awesome Willie Nelson tune. We start off with these really cool little licks actually around some D majors. And actually there's one that really works really well around just the regular D. But the way you play D major, first finger goes to G on the second fret, second finger on the high E second, third finger on the B string third. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds a D major chord and it sounds really happy. Now you may also dig on lifting off the second finger on Ds in general. That's always a fun thing to do for a D sus tune. Or you could add in the pinky on the high E third for a D suspended chord. And you will hear that. I think it's a Dave lick actually, but I'm thinking a lot. Well, I don't know. There's some really cool licks. God, what an awesome tune. All right, but anyway. So it's like you could kind of take the D. You'll hear this weird little lick in the background. I think it's a Dave lick where you could do it down on the D and then do kind of like a hammer-on pull-off idea, like on the high E third or second fret. It's kind of this quick little trill D major idea, which is kind of a cool little lick. And then you'll hear kind of this opening bass idea, actually kind of a traditional country lead in, where you could play open A, second on the A, fourth on the A. It's kind of an A, B, C sharp to lead to a D note. And then you'll hear this cool little hammer on around the D, where you could do the open G as a hammer on the second fret. And then you might want to kind of play the B string third. And I was digging doing on this with the up. So kind of 0 2 4 0 0 2 3 3 0 2 4 0 0 2 3 3 0 2 4 0 0 2 3 3. And sometimes that lick kind of gets abbreviated into kind of just an open second fret hammer on the A string, kind of an A B note to lead to the D. So you might want to kind of play around with that too. Now if you're doing just strumming though, there's a couple different strumming options you may want to play around with. And actually it's a lot, but you could work just kind of a down count on the D chord if you're just starting out. That could be a really cool way to work it. Or one of my favorite strum patterns for 4/4 like this is down, down, up, down, up. So if you do the D and just tried that a lot, you'd have down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. Or, for myself, what I was really gravitating to was something called a 16th note strum pattern. And what I mean by that is if you're tapping your foot at the beat, right now we're dividing that beat into two parts with our down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's called an 8th note. What a 16th note is where you divide that into four parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one of my favorite 16th note strum patterns is a long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. And what I mean by that is if you take the D and do it down for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you'd be doing on the first beat. And on the second beat, you do it down on 1, down on 3, up on 4. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And then on the third beat, you do it up on 2, down on 3. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, up, down, 1, up, down, 1, up, down. And then on the last beat, you'd be going down, up, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. So down, up, down, 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 down. So we put all that together. You got down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. So you want to play around with that. Or a variation on that can be very cool too, is a down, up, down, up, down, down, 16th note strum pattern. And what I mean by that is on the first beat, you'd be doing a down on 1 and up on 4. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down, up, down, up. And then on the second beat, you do the up on 2, down on 3. So kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 up, 1 up, down, 1 up, down. And then on the third beat, you do up on 2, up on 4. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 up, 1 up, 1 up, up. And then on the last beat, you'd be going down, up, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, up, down. 8 down count between the down, down, up, and down, up, the 16th pattern, or the other 16th pattern. So you might want to kind of play around with that, or if you got other patterns, you could throw it in there too. But I think those are some really good ones to work. And through the intro, actually, we start out on the D chord, and then you'll start hearing some changes to a G major chord. And normally you do this first finger on the A second, second finger on the low E third, third finger on the high E third. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord and sounds really happy. And you may also dig on putting the third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third, and kind of working that for your G major. And that way, actually, especially between D's and G's, this is cool because your third finger gets to stay in the same place if you're doing that 4-finger G. So you know that can make your chord change easier. So we kind of start out on the D, and then more D, and you might want to throw in those, throw in some of those licks. Making up stuff around the D's can be cool. We do that 8 times, then we got the D, and then we go to G, and then we're back to D. Or you can play around with the suspended chords around the D, and then we got another D, G, and then D. And through that part, you will hear kind of this cool little solo part actually through that if you want to kind of follow some of the lead notes. You'd start out 5th on the high E, to 2nd fret on the high E, to 9th fret on the high E, and then 3rd on the B, and then 3rd on the high E is a pull off the 2nd on the high E, and then another 2nd fret on the high E, and then 3 on the B string twice. So it might be kind of a cool lick to follow. And then 9, 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3. And then you hear this quick lick, kind of 5th fret on the B to 3rd on the B as a pull off, and then 5th fret on the B is a slide to 7, and then 10 on the B, and then 12 on the B, and then 10 on the high E, and then 9 on the high E. It might be kind of a cool lick. And then we got 10 on the G, or 10 on the B string to 12 on the B as kind of a hammer on, and then 9 to 11 on the G as a hammer on. So kind of playing the first note and let the finger go down to carry the sound. That might be cool. And then we got kind of this cool little arpeggio of the D chord actually, kind of 11 on the G to 10 on the B string. And you might want to kind of make up some things on those notes, and then we kind of end with the 7 and 9 hammer on the D string. And then 7 on the G twice. Might be kind of cool. Now randomly, this tune is in D major. You could work a D minor or D major pentatonic. Kind of working 7 to 10 on the low E, 7 to 9 on the D, 7 to 9 on the, or 7 to 9 on the A and D, and the G, and then 7 to 10 on the B, 7 to 10 on the high E. So if you're familiar with kind of playing more of the lead ideas, you may want to play around with that scale. Definitely some C sharp notes in the intro where you may want to use a D major scale. So you could go 10, 12, 14 on the low E, 10, 12, 14 on the A, 11, 12, 14 on the D, 11, 12, 14 on the G, and then 10 to 4, or 12 to 14 to 15 on the B, 12, 14, 15 on the high E. So you're going D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G. It's kind of your do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do for the D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you may want to kind of play the D chord, for instance. Make up a lick. Right? Another D. Lick. D. You know, just kind of play around with some lead ideas, kind of get the chord kind of stuck in your head too. And then from that intro, then we'll be going into our main verse format. Our main verse starts with the D, and then we go to G, and then we're back to D, and then more D, and more D, G, D, D, And normally you do this first finger on the B first fret, second finger on the D second, third finger on the A third. And if you strum all those together, the beautiful sounds of C major. Now you may also think I'm lifting off the first finger, making that C major 7. You add in the pinky on the B third for C major 9, kind of say some stuff around the C. Or another way to play C major 9, we're doing first finger on the D second, second finger on the A third, third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third. Kind of working that for your C major. So you want to kind of make that way third finger can kind of stay in that same place between the D and the C. And then we go to a G, but then we go to an E major. And normally you do this first finger on the G first fret, second finger on the A second, third finger on the D second. And if you strum all those together, oh yeah, that's what you want. You'll see E major. You sound really, really, really happy. Now randomly around E's in general, you could kind of add in the pinky on the G second, make it an E suspended chord. For this particular E, you might want to lift off the third finger and make it an E7. Or add in the pinky on the B string third for a E7. A little bit more bite, so you might want to kind of dig on that. Actually, it's kind of this secondary dominant kind of an idea. It's like, yeah, that's nasty cool. And then we go to D. But then we go to an A major. And then we play A major. First finger goes to the D on the second finger on the G second, third finger on the B second. Big party on the second fret. And you strum all those together. The beautiful sound of A major. I love A major. Now you may, I'm in love with A major. With the O major. Let's see. Alright, so anyways, you could, other things you could do around the A. You could lift off the third finger, make an A suspended second, or add in the pinky on the B string third for an A major or an A suspended. Kind of say some stuff around that chord. Or you might even dig on an A7 sus, where you do first finger on the D second, second finger on the G second, third finger on the B third, pinky on the high E third. Sounds really unresolved, but that might be a really easy way to get from the D or the D sus to the A and then back. So at the very, very end of our verse, we kind of have that D to the A, back to the D. So we're going to kind of dig on that. Or with the strumming, actually, a lot of times something else that I like to add in too is bass notes. And on the D, you have the D for the bass. On the G, you have the low E for the bass. On the C, you have the A for the bass. On the E, you have low E for the bass. And on the A, you have the A for the bass. Very, very cool. So we tried that next verse with a bass down, up, down, because this could be cool just to practice basses. You have that D, down, and G, D with the D bass, D, G, da, D, da, C, G, E major, and the D funny, may have time, slips a D way, so you may want to play around with that, kind of working through that with the basses. Or if you're digging on the 16ths, this can be very cool. You can work it off a bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, or a bass, bass, down, down, up, down, up, down, or a bass, bass, down, up, bass, down, up, down. There'll be cool variations to work off of this. So we tried that way. You have the D, and randomly on the other 16th pattern, you could do a bass, bass, down, up, down. If you want to add basses to that, so that'd be cool too. So through the verse using the 16th idea, you can have the D, G, D. So it might be cool to kind of alternate between them too, or maybe not mix around the chords. Throwing in that bass line from the intro. B, C, G, E major, and D, A, D. So you may kind of dig on that, working it that way too. And then from there, then we'd be going into a kind of a really cool little solo part where we got kind of the D major to the G major, and then back to the D, and we end up doing that twice. And And then you hear these cool little hits actually on kind of these cool little licks, where you may want to take the D, for instance, and then kind of following the bass note here, you'd have the open D for your bass, and then we kind of go to 4 on the D, 2 on the G, and then 4 on the D, 2nd on the D, and then open D. And you may want to think about you doing that 4-2-0 at the end as a double pull off. So I'm doing 3rd finger to 1st finger as a pull off, 1st finger to the open as a pull off. So you got 0, 0, 4, 2, 4, 2, 0, kind of thinking about the bass note. And what you may want to do is take the chord and kind of work, kind of a 2-hit, right? And I did that as a down up and then killed it. So down up, kill it, and then 4, 2, 4, 2, 0, kind of going into that lick. Alright, definitely a Dave lick, right? 4, 2, 4, 2, 0. And then from there we go to a C chord, kind of almost that same idea. 3rd on the A string is kind of your bass note, kind of working that idea twice. And then you go 5 on the D, 4 on the D, 2nd on the D, and then back to 4 on the D. So C, C, G, F sharp, E, F sharp. It's kind of that C idea, or you could take the chord 5, 4, 2, 4. So I'm going down, up, kill it. 5, 4, 2, 4. So you kind of dig on that idea. Kind of D, down, up. 4, 2, 4, 2, 0. C, down, up. 5, 4, 2, 4. D. 4, 2, 4, 2, 0. C. 5, 4, 2, 4. So through that whole solo part, if you kind of dig on that, you got a D. Oh, and then we kind of start our licks. C, 5, 4, 2, 4, D, 4, 2, 4, 2, 0, C, 5, 4, 2, 4, D, 4, 2, 4, 2, 0, C, 5, 4, 2, 4, D, 4, 2, 4, 2, 0, C. And then from there, then we'll be going into our last verse. So we got kind of back into our D, and you could really take any of these ideas and kind of mix them up any way you wanted to kind of play the song. So you want to experiment with all these ideas, find a way that works for you, and then run with it. So feel free to take this lesson and kind of embellish it any way you wanted to. So there's lots of ways to kind of mix it up with different strum patterns, taking different licks, kind of trying to play it more like how you're feeling it too. Now I'm adding a lot of right hand muting, right? It's a very Dave thing to do. So I'm taking the flat of my right hand, laying it down on top of the saddle. Still kind of trying to follow that rhythm idea. And then from there, then we'll be going into our outro. And our outro is really cool because we start out on the D, and then the A, and then the G. But then you may want to make a change to a G minor, where you might want to take the 1st finger and kind of slide it back just like a hair to get it back to 1st fret. Now this is kind of crazy, but that's a root position G minor. I know this is a crazy stretch. If you ever want to try and play crash randomly, you might have to work a stretch, something similar to this. But that's a G minor chord, so you may want to make a change to the G minor. Or a good cheat for that is to just take the G, lift off the 1st finger just a little bit to kill the A string. It makes that a G5, a big G5. So you may want to think about using that, but the G definitely starts to sound sad, right? So you may want to think about using a regular G minor. And normally you do this 3rd fret bar, 3rd finger on the A 5th, pinky on the D 5th. Oh my God, that was a G minor. Alright, or you can lift off the pinky. G minor 7, a jazzy G minor sadness. And then the pinky, you might want to add him in on the B string 6. Make it a G minor 7 that way. Or you could say all kinds of stuff around that. If you wanted to. Alright, so through that outro that way. How A time slips a G, G minor, and then we got a big D chord at the very, very end. Now, randomly, you also hear some cool licks actually around the D major through the tune too. So one other thing with the D chord that occurred to me was going, oh yeah, well, and this especially happens in some of the solo licks in the second solo, or in the real solo, as opposed to the intro. I don't know, they're both solos, right? But you could take your first finger and put them on the high 5th fret, that's an A note. Third finger on the G 7th fret, that's a D note. Pinky on the B string 7, that's an F sharp note. So these are actually the same 3 notes as your D chord. And actually it's kind of weird, now your third's on the B string if you wanted to move around from the 2 with the 4, kind of an idea. Whoa, that's kind of cool. And you'll definitely hear that like in the solo, right? It's like little arpeggios of the D chord. And you'll also hear this one too, where you could take a little piece of the kind of an E shape for the D, where you got first finger over the high E and the B string on the 10th fret, second finger on the G string 11. It's kind of another little D chord. So that might be kind of a really cool thing to kind of throw that at kind of moving around. And now your third actually is on the G string. If you wanted to move between the 4 and the 2. It's just a cool idea in general, is to lay those licks around it. And your open D string is still there to support those little chords. Yeah, you can play around with those notes and kind of see what you could say with it. Another thing that randomly occurs to me too, and I'm sure that there are tons of videos on this somewhere on YouTube, is the Ed Cage idea. Because we actually talked through every major chord that you ever play on the guitar. Doing this lesson actually with D chord, C chord, G chord, A major, E major. That's it. It's just those 5 shapes in the universe. So if you're looking for other ways to kind of solo over this, actually you could even take the D, right? And we start out with and this is a kind of a application of Ed Cage if you're familiar with this concept. The idea is we're taking that same 3 notes, D's and F sharps and A's, that we were just moving up on 3 strings, and we take that idea and look at it in the bigger scheme of things, where we start with a D shape, third position. If you capo on 2nd fret with your first finger bar on the first 2nd fret, then you could kind of do a C shape for D. Same 3 notes, different place. You do 2nd finger on the B 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the 4th fret on the D, pinky on the A string 5th. It's kind of a D major, still D's and F sharps in it. And then from there, then we'd actually have a 5th fret bar, 3rd finger of the D, G, and B, kind of an A shape for a D chord. And then from the A, then if you bar 7th fret, it's a G shape. Oh my gosh, if we came up to 7, we'd have it, when I played a G, it would be a D. Some more D's and F sharps and A's. And then from 10th fret, you got the E shape for a D. And then from there, it starts over again, you're back to your D shape. And that's kind of how things move on the guitar. We normally have the C shape, and go into the A shape, go into the G shape, go into the E shape, go into the D shape, and then starting over again. So we call that the cage way that chords move on the guitar. So C shape for D, A shape for D, this moved up, right? G shape for D, oh this shape moved up, right? And then the E shape, right, kind of E major but moved up to 10, the D major, and you're back to your D chord. So you may want to experiment with that too, and that can be cool, working lead ideas off of little pieces of that. Don't feel like you have to, you're like, oh man, I can't do bar chords, so this whole cage thing is beyond me. The idea is to see the shape. You know, it has nothing to do with like actually being able to do a bar here. So you actually could even just play the notes in that C shape as part of your lead. or you could work up into the higher notes, right? I mean, into the other shapes, it doesn't really matter, right? You know, it's just kind of an example. So anyway, I thought that was a really cool thing to kind of mention, kind of looking at soloing. And actually, when you go to the other chords, this is what's really crazy about this whole idea. On the G chord, everything moves in the same order. So if you're on a G chord, then you'd be using the E shape, or the G shape would go to the E shape, would go to the D shape, to the C shape, to the A shape from 10, and then back to the G, way over the top of the neck. So this is ridiculous. And it's like, oh, G major, you know, it's like, and this is so funny because I get a lot of comments where it's like, man, I know G. I don't need you to walk me through G major anymore. And I'm like, yeah, but do you ever think about what note you're playing? And I'm sure that the answer would be no, and so that's why I like the chord diagrams with the new notes on it. But you can play these chords in lots of different places too. So just because I'm walking through G major in one place doesn't mean that you can't take all the G's that you know, for instance, and then try and kind of play along with them, you know, and try to reinforce G major as a concept. So anyway. There's lots of ways to use these videos, but I hope this was helpful. You got some lead part stuff, you know, in that D major that could be very, very cool to kind of play around with. Yeah, I guess if you're looking at it from a theory perspective, I know most people have stopped watching by this point. But so the D major, for instance, though, when you hit that C chord, all of a sudden it's kind of cool because you almost kind of D almost becomes a mixolydian kind of idea there. Instead of the major. It's interesting, I guess, if you're thinking about how things are changing. We start off in D major, but because C natural isn't in that scale, it's a C sharp. If you took the D and then flatted the C, or made it a natural, that would create something called a mixolydian. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat, 7, 1 as a sound. So if you're working in that one spot for the major chord, it's kind of cool. Like you could be thinking D major, you know, da, 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 until you hit that C chord, and then all of a sudden you want to be thinking mixolydian. But then this is what's cool is we go to the G right after that, right? So then it's like you could still be thinking mixolydian, I think, but all of a sudden you almost feel like a key return when you hit the G. It's like almost the 4 chord in the key of D. And then when you hit the E major, now you got G sharps in the chord. This is crazy. So now you got D, E, F sharp, but then G sharps. Now it's a D Lydian. Cool. Or is the Lydian dominant? Do you still hear the flat 7? See, that's what's cool. Is like, wow. Go watch Visual Systems. Go watch Orbits. Yeah, and if this completely confuses you, but you got D, E, F sharp. So 1, 2, 3. The G sharp is the 4, from D is a 1. So 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5 on the A, 6. But then you might still be hearing the C natural. You know what I mean? On that note, it's like, oh yeah, C, oh yeah, cool. So that's a flat 7. So now I got a scale with a sharp 4 and a flat 7, which is normally called Lydian dominant, because if it's Lydian, it's got the sharp 4, and it's dominant because it's got the flat 7 and the 3 in it. You know. It's kind of outlined in D7. So you may dig on that sound. That's just a cool sound, yeah. Now, all right, there are definitely some chord changes where you can't do that, but you could. Yeah, there are definitely places where your ear might go, "Hey, man, that sounds funny," but you might want to experiment with some modal ideas over the top of this thing too. But that's the basics of how you could strum through. Funny how time slips away. I was really digging on this track and thought it might be kind of cool to kind of talk about some lead stuff and some of the caged way the chords move. And anyway, lots of jam ideas there. Go practice. Best of luck, y'all. Woo!